Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Alright, so as a martial artist, you will run into other martial artists. And I'm going to say this against all other martial artists, and they're going to hate my guts, and they can have the finger, the middle one, on both hands. And my toes too, if I can figure out how that works. Anyway, here's the thing. I don't care what anybody else says, I'm going to tell you the truth. There is no such thing as a superior martial art. There are only superior martial artists. If I tell you some information, you can take it as a grain of salt, or you can choose to believe me. I can't make you believe anything that I say. And for all medicinal purposes, the proof is always in the pudding. If I tell you I'm going to do some bound fighting, I'm going to do bound fighting. Alright? And I'm going to do bound fighting tonight. Alright? Now, I've done it before. I know you guys have seen it, and you're probably sick of it. You know, and that's cool and everything, but when you have a go-to, you go to it. And why? Because you know you can't fuck yourself up. Alright? So let's start with simple. Most martial arts began and started and have caused arguments with the concept of everything begins in China. Alright? Now, there will always be an objective argument of if Africa had it first, because Egypt isn't Africa, and Egypt was proven to be the first civilization, or if China had it first, because they're still battling it out in the world of science on who was the oldest civilization. However, the hieroglyphics of Egypt date back farther than the Chinese scrolls and text. At least that's what they tell us. For all we know, they all could have came around at the same goddamn time, bumped heads, and said, "Ha!" Alright, now that's your typical karate stance, but technically that was a Wing Chun stance because I went southpaw. If you don't know about Wing Chun and why we go southpaw, let me break that down for you. The world is predominantly right-handed, so that means if you're right-handed and your right foot is forward, it's more than likely that when you throw a kick, it's going to be more powerful than when you throw a kick with that side. Understand how that works? So when you throw a strike, or a block and a strike, it's going to be more powerful because you're using your dominant hand. Now in American boxing, you're southpaw, so you're throwing out your weak hand, and then you're going to hit them with the strong hand. Boom, boom, boom. And a lot of American southpaw fighters have a Wing Chun stance, and you just don't recognize it because you're used to southpaw boxing. Alright, now if you're not a southpaw boxer, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. If you're a southpaw boxer, you probably do know what I'm talking about. You just don't know that you were doing a Wing Chun stand. Okay? Now for Wing Chun, if I'm going to block your first punch and I strike it down and strike it back, because that's Kung Fu. I understand there's no wasted movements in Wing Chun or most Kung Fu styles. So every move leads you straight to the next move. Same thing with Kempo, where every move is a strike as well as a block. I understand how that works. So if I do a Kempo in a Wing Chun stand and you throw a punch, it's a left jab, and I smack your knuckles, from here I'm going straight back in. This hand is to protect me in the Wing Chun style, where I use a Kempo strike to your knuckles. Boom, boom. I understand. Now if I do this, boom, 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 yeah, there's still no wasted motion. But the first kick was after the hit, so you'll understand how that works. Alright? Now from this side, so that you can get a full body view, I'm going to do Kempo, knuckle strike, and then strike again. So boom, boom. Understand how that works? Boom, boom. Now this hand is to protect my central line in case this does not work, or this does not work. You understand what we're on Kung Fu here. And Kempo can classify itself as karate and Kung Fu because I'm not sure which Kempo I actually was learning. Because I didn't know there was a Shaolin Kempo until the end of last year. So basically a month or some change ago. Alright? So, now with Wing Chun, you have your push hands here, and you have your push and trapping hands here. So with your Wing Chun, you have that. I don't know the Chinese name, so don't give me a fucking hard time about the shit. I think it's like Pak Sao or some shit. Don't ask me. Again, I don't know the Chinese names. So, foom, foom, foom. It's basically patty cake. You guys know the fucking drill, right? You're slapping, you're slapping, you're slapping, you're slapping, you're slapping, you're slapping, and you strike. Okay? Well, you're basically doing the same thing here. So you're pushing, and you're basically cultivating chi in Tai Chi. So you're pushing there. So if I do here and I push you by, I can double strike, or I can do it from this way where I push you by and I can double strike. So double palm strike. or for martial art movie terms, it's the Buddha bomb. Alright? So, you get that. Now, a lot of karate does not have animal styles. There is a karate crane. It is very similar, if not exactly the same, as the Kung Fu crane, which generally means you can start from here and go here, and then you can go into here. Now, as you know, the crane beak is closed, where the snake is open. Let me get up close so that you can see that. This is the snake. It is open. It is for twisting and turning. This is the crane. The beak is straight. Alright? Now, when you smack down with the crane and you strike, your hand will go from this to this. Same with the snake, unless you're going to grip. Same with mantis. Same with tiger. Only tiger you will do more open hand strikes. Okay? Same with eagle. Same with dragon. So you will dragon, you're blocking. Tiger, block, strike, block, strike. I understand how that's working. God, I hope I'm not pissing off too many experts in this shit. But what you understand is the animal styles are a little separate from Shaolin Kung Fu. And now a lot of people will get this a little bit twisted, so I'm going to go ahead and twist it up even more for you. When you started studying animal styles, you're mimicking an animal. You're not mimicking everything the animal do, because there are some things that the animal body has that you don't have. So if you're doing a leaping mantis strike, you know, a mantis has 6 legs. A mantis can also fly. A mantis can also change its colors. You can't do that. You don't have 6 legs. You can't fly. You can't change your colors. But you can still emulate the mantis with the strikes. And you can change your strike from mantis to tiger to snake, and then change into dragon. You can transcend from one animal to the other animal a lot faster than you think. So when you're dragging it out and going to tiger, switch into mantis, go into snake, then go into crane, you can do all that. Alright? But you have to understand, it takes a while to master just one form of an animal style. So if you master just enough of it and go to another and another, you can compensate, and you have to learn how to adapt. Kung Fu makes your ass adapt. So, I should have used my nephew today for this. Maybe I'll do it if I can convince him to be in a movie or the video without trying to overzealous my ass, like with the pole earlier today. And magical basketball hoop. He got overzealous. Alright, you guys seen him try to take me out, right? Shame on you. I guess he really was trying to give me the genuine draft. Anyway, so with Kung Fu, you get to the outside, alright? And the reason why you get to the outside, now here's where people get pissed off, alright? Because some people don't do that with their Kung Fu. So for what I was taught and what I do is I get to the outside because it's easier for me to manipulate you, because you're over here and I'm over here. Now you just do a punch. Now I got to this side, so you're here and I'm over here, which means I'm over here. I can break your elbow, slide down, which would be sliding up here, and I'm hitting you in the throat. I can break your elbow, slide under, and I'm hitting you in ribs. And if you would have been a right hand, I'm hitting you in liver and kidneys and other shit. And yes, you have kidneys over here too, but your liver's over here. So, you know, I'm going to hit you where it's going to do the most damage. If I'm lucky, I can just hit you in the solar plexus, or break and slap down. If I want to end it quickly, break and hit the throat. Why? I'm not going to hit you in the face, because if you have a jaw of steel, it's only going to piss you off, which is going to make me have to work harder. The good news is, I broke your elbow. I have 2 more weapons to go. Your other 2 legs and your other elbow. You're going to be in pain. You may Forrest Griffin the shit out of me, but if I get a hold of your other elbow, it's done. Now I've broken both of your elbows. Alright, so now, for the sake of speed and happiness, we're not going to go too deep into more Kung Fu. We're going to go into karate. Alright, now karate is all about power and counter-striking. In your Kung Fu counter-strike, as you know, it's no wasted motion, boom, boom. As karate, when you block, you counter. Alright? Now, this is why I'm not really going back into karate and so deep. And a karate practitioner is going to come and correct this video and tell me and everyone else everything that I've done wrong, and I accept that. Because I've only had 3 years of karate. And then everything else, I'm pretty much doing MMA without even knowing I'm doing MMA. But when I start doing Kung Fu, I I stick mostly with Kung Fu. And then the hip thing happened. So now there is no more Wushu, and there is more Wing Chun and Kung Fu versus Wushu and other forms of Kung Fu. Alright? But what you got to understand, no matter what martial art you take, a kick is still a kick, and a punch is still a punch. Alright? Now I also took Taekwondo, which is basically Korean martial arts. Alright? But I also took Naharte, which is the Japanese form of Taekwondo, according to my late master Ennis, who has passed. Alright. Now, for karate, if you're blocking and you're countering, it still leaves you open to another counter. Alright? So he's throwing a left jab, I'm blocking, I'm returning a left jab. He's blocking. I'm blocking his other left because he just blocked it with the right and he's countering with his left. Alright? So it would look like if I'm him, left, you block, right, you block, left, you block. And so your blocks, boom, boom, boom. Or, let's keep it classical, boom, boom, boom. Alright? So you have to understand how that works. Alright? And 9 times out of 10, your block is going to gain the power and the torque. Alright? So when you're torquing it, you're going to gain that power. It's the same blocks that I learned in Taekwondo. It's the same block I learned in Kimbo. It's the same block I learned in Kung Fu. The difference is your counter strike. So boom, boom. That's pretty much it right there. But you have to worry about his counter strike, which is why in Kung Fu, I always tell you to get to the outside. It's easier for me to manipulate you from the outside of your body versus coming in straight. Now, there are some guys that do karate that can come in straight and everything's going to be A-okay. I'm not that fucking guy. Not going to lie about that shit. I'm going to get to your outside because I'm going to break your fucking elbow. I'm going to break your fucking kneecap. And I'm going to end this fight quick as possible. If I break your elbow and punch you in the throat, if you can't breathe, you can't hurt me. And that doesn't mean anything about how big you are. If you're bigger than me, I'm damn sure going to break both your elbows. I'm going to do that shit for bragging rights because I know you're not going to be playing with me, so I'm not going to be playing with you. But the minor difference is how you are taught karate. With karate, you generally are taught. So you're here, let's go with a butterfly or a crane. Your block, your block. In Kung Fu, your butterfly, your block, and your strike. Alright? Or block and strike. Understand the difference? So karate, block and strike. Kung Fu, block and strike. Alright? Same hand, no wasted motion. Boom, boom. I'm there. Karate, I'm blocking and I'm striking with the other hand. Now, in some karate schools, they can teach you how to manipulate that so you can block, step in and strike, but you left yourself open to their counter. Alright? And this is why I say you go to the outside. Alright? You might not like it. 10,000 martial artists just gave me the finger and they're not going to agree with that shit. And that's fine. But try it my way and see where it works better for you. So you can do this, and your body's going to be used to that because it's second nature. Whereas my body had to go used to going to the outside. When I was doing karate, it was always block and counter. When I was doing Taekwondo, it was always block and counter. When I started doing Wing Chun and other Kung Fu styles, it was always get to the outside, pull. So I can turn Muay Thai knees in, boom. I can do Taekwondo knees. Yes, Taekwondo has knees. Yes, Judo has knees. Yes, Jiu-Jitsu has knees. No, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does not have knees. At least the shit that I learned in the Army did not have knees. Alright? So for Kung Fu purposes, I always go to the outside. I have reverted to Kung Fu because Kung Fu works for me. Alright? But when you are in a fight, you need to adapt, and you'll need to learn, and this is the final part of this video, you'll need to learn when to go from Kung Fu, boom, to karate. Now, in Kung Fu, I should have did this and then this, because this knee was closer. But I want to end this fight quickly, so I want to add power. So I'm blocking, I'm pulling, and I'm throwing this knee. And when I throw that knee, this is my central target from the sternum to the belly. Unless I'm really, really short and I'm going to hit you in the nuts. You know, I'm going to try to end this fight. Now, before I go, almost every martial art has elbows in them. However, the ones that started it all was more like Thai fighting. Alright? And there is an art to throwing an elbow. Believe me, there's an art to throwing an elbow. I accidentally hurt my father using a back elbow. I didn't even realize I did it. I was 23, he scared the shit out of me, and I don't have reflex control. Understand how that works. So you have to have reflex control. I guess my late nephew's trying to tell me to get the hell out of his basement. Anyway, when my dad snuck up on me, And I was talking to my stepmom, and all of a sudden I see these hands, BAM! I didn't even realize I did it. So from then on, I started telling everybody, please don't sneak up on me. You have to let me know that you're there. If you don't let me know that you're there, I will not be held responsible for what the fuck happens to you. That being said, Kung Fu Addict number 2, thank you for watching. BC and you, please like and subscribe. That's something my nephew told me I needed to start.